everyone, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I don't have a Mr. UMB with me. He has gone home, so this is a solo video. A solo video for the first time in a long time. But I thought I would do my escape room review video, as you saw in the previous video where we talked about our 2023 trip plans. I was very torn between whether to do this review video to catch you up on all the escape room kind of things I've been up to since my last proper review, and I thought, you know what, yeah, it's something to talk about, something new to bring to the channel, and I've missed talking about escape rooms. You guys know how much I've enjoyed them, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more in the coming months of 2023 as well. So without further ado, I have quite a list to get through, so let's get straight into it. So the first room I'm going to talk about is one I did fairly recently with my escape room partner in crime, Yasmin, and this was Escape from Alcatraz at Houdini's Escape in Kingston. This is a brand new escape room that has come to Kingston. It is based in the Rotunda in the bowling alley. So where you have Kingston escape rooms, where we've done all the rooms on like the floor just one up from the entrance. If you go underground, there's a bowling alley there with a bar, and there is now also an escape room down there called Escape from Alcatraz. And I have to say that was one of the best escape rooms we have done. It was so immersive, lots of fun, quite tricky, and as you guys know, we're actually quite good at more difficult escape rooms, and we find the easy ones harder, which I don't know how that works out, but I don't know, maybe we just like things that make us use our brain power a bit more. And we escaped, which is always good, and I think the lady said that we escaped in one of the quickest times she's seen. It was really good fun. It was made up of, like some previous rooms, it's kind of one big escape room, but it's split into 3 sections and each door opens at a different time. You go in the warden's office, which is a staple for the 2 prison mazes that we've actually done together, and I actually quite like that because you kind of feel a bit like immersed. Well, because you're so immersed, you really do feel like you're a prisoner trying to break free, sneaking around a warden's office, and you have to use the telephone. There's loads of interesting places where they've hidden clues as well, and it was just a really fun room. Lots of atmospheric noises, and the way they give clues is very different to most of the other rooms on this list. So where in a lot of the other rooms we've done, there's a TV screen or a pre-recorded message that comes in, the escape room host actually bangs on the door and shouts it through like a little hole on the door, so it really feels like you're stuck in a cell, and I think that really helps with the immersion into the escape room you're doing. And like I said, it's one of our favourites we've done. Definitely not the best, but it's up there. It was incredible. And I know there are a lot more rooms based around the Houdini's Escape Company. They're just not in Kingston. The space they've got in Kingston is enough for the one room. Whether they can expand, I don't know, but I'm definitely hoping to go to a different site that Houdini's Escape owns to try out some of their other games. Next up, we have an outdoor kind of escape room thing. You may remember from when we did 2 of the hidden cities. This one was by a company called Clued Up, and this was in our hometown Kingston. They run the events nationwide in loads of different cities, loads of different areas of London. You've got London Covent Garden, etc, etc. There are some in Leicester as well, which I think it would be quite fun to do with some of Ewan's friends if we can rope them into doing one. The one we did in Kingston was Alice in Wonderland, and it's actually all based off of an app on your phone, and it was great fun. I was joined by Yasmin, Ewan and Ashley, and this is only done a couple of weeks ago and we completely forgot to film it with no spoilers. But the whole story is led off of your phone. So you read it, you have a map on your phone, and it comes up with the locations of characters you need to go and interact with. You don't actually interact with anyone face to face. Again, it's just like you're interacting with them on the phone. So I think a lot of people who weren't playing the game probably thought it was really weird that groups of people were just standing looking at their phones in certain locations in the town. But it was really nice. Ewan hasn't really had a walk around Kingston, so this was a fun way to kind of give him a whistle-stop tour of some of the sights of Kingston. And then we just finished. We completed the game. We were actually quite high up on the leaderboard at first, and then we dropped quite low because we finished quite quickly. But a lot of people were a lot quicker than us, and I think we racked up a few time penalties and such, which was a shame, but it was such good fun. And then to celebrate, we went and had Wetherspoons afterwards. If a Clued Up is in your area or in an area you can easily travel to, I highly recommend going and doing one of their events. It was so much fun. I loved the interaction on the app. The little mini games you had to play on there to solve some of the clues were really out the box, and it was just a thoroughly enjoyable and well put together event. So, sticking with the Alice in Wonderland style themed escape rooms, we are going over to Escape Hunt Kingston, which I have now completed all the games there, and they're all going to be listed in this video in this next section. So this is the first one I'm going to talk about, and that is Alice in Puzzleland. This is a wacky escape room. Again, because it's Wonderland, a lot of things aren't as straightforward as they seem to be when you first walk into the room. Lots of confusion, lots of things where there's a clue where you have to look at a map, and obviously with it being Wonderland, the map is back to front, but you don't know that. And it took us ages to figure that out. We did really well in that room again. I think we had about 15 minutes to spare out of our hour, which is really good going for us. And it was just so different, and the storyline was that the Mad Hatter had stolen the Queen's tarts, and you know the Queen of Hearts, of course, she was gonna behead him, so we had to go and find them before the Mad Hatter was found out by the Queen of Hearts. And again, you start off in kind of like a garden area outside of the Mad Hatter's house, and there's like the tea party table that you all recognise from like the Disney movie, so it feels like very immersive again. Lots of different moving pieces to go along with it, and then of course you eventually end up inside the Mad Hatter's house. So again, it's kind of like a two-part thing where you do a lot of stuff outside, and then the last bit of the room you're inside the Mad Hatter's house. And again, it's just so imaginative and different. It was our first escape room we did over at Escape Hunt. This was just me and Yaz, and again it was different and we really enjoyed it. And we did it so long ago, I'd love to do that room again with Ewan to see if we can beat our time. And there's also a couple of rooms here that I've done without Yasmin that I would like to do with Yaz to see if I can beat my time. And also she would love to complete the rooms like me, because we are absolutely crazy, as you've probably established. But yeah, for a first room to do that, it was the perfect one for us to choose. The second room I did at Escape Hunt Kingston was with Ashley. You may see a pattern. I seem to do things with a similar sort of group because we just all enjoy that type of thing. And we did the Fourth Samurai at Escape Hunt Kingston. And this was just on a random day. We just decided to meet up. We actually did the Crazy Cat Lady, which me and Yaz have done previously, but then we beat mine and Yaz's time, and I didn't actually remember half of the clues. We were just really lucky that a few of them I was like, oh yes, I kind of remember what I'm doing here. So maybe that's cheating, but you know me, I'm competitive. If I've got a time and I don't think it's a good time, I want to try and beat it. And yeah, that was a success. And then we decided to go and do another room after we'd had some dinner in true Lou style. who would ever just do one room when you can end up doing two? So we decided to go over it and do the Four Samurai. This was one of the hardest rooms I've had to do. It took us ages to get out of the first section, as you're kind of blindfolded and led into somewhere, and then you have to escape out of that bit to do the actual room, and it took us ages to figure out how we were meant to get out of this really small space, and both of us were just a bit like agitated that it was taking us so long to figure out what we were doing. Once we got into the main escape room, it was really good. There's a lot of mental puzzles, there were a couple of physical puzzles, but most of it was all mental puzzles, and I really like those type of puzzles, the ones that kind of get you thinking outside of the box. And the room again was incredible, so immersive. Lots of different set pieces around the room again, lots of ones that interacted with you or moved, and it was a storyline that you had to go and find a sword that was the fourth samurai sword, and the first kind of half was all like agility tests you had to do and all the things that make a good samurai. So you had like I'm not going to spoil what games you had, but there was one particular one that I really enjoyed, as it's a sport I quite enjoy doing. I don't do it often, but when I do it I really enjoy doing it. So again, one of the best rooms I've done, even though it was pretty tough. Another Escape Hunt Kingston room, I have completed Blackbeard's Treasure. This one I did with George and Adam. This was just a Christmas treat. Back in 2021, we'd seen each other the week before to do Winter Wonderland, as you saw by the vlog on the channel, and then we thought, oh, let's just meet up one more time before Christmas. And they came to Kingston, we saw a live band in Market Square, and I booked this escape room to do with them as their Christmas present from me, and we all really enjoyed it. Blackbeard's Treasure is one of my favourite rooms. It's definitely my favourite pirate theme room that I've done. It was a lot better than the one at Skeggy. Escape the Seven Seas, I think it was called, it Escape Skegness. Blackbeard's Treasure wins. There was musical puzzles. Again, there was a lot of agility and physical puzzles and a few mental puzzles as well. And we all worked really well as a team. I think we all kind of pulled our weight in there. So I was good at certain parts of the room, Adam was good at certain parts of the room, and George was good at certain parts of the room. The first thing I've ever experienced in a room was in this room where we had a red herring. There was a clue that distracted us, and it turned out that it was just a red herring. It was nothing to do to help us, it was just there to kind of waste time, and we realised that a bit late. But we escaped with a really good time on this, and I would love to redo this room, just like I'd like to redo the Fourth Samurai with Yaz as well, as I think she'd really enjoy both those rooms, especially the Samurai one. But I also think she might surprisingly prefer Blackbeard's Treasure. Again, I would love to take Ewan in this room as well, as I think he'd really enjoy this one, and I'm trying to get him into the escape rooms. He's done quite a few, as you will find out in this video, and as you will know from our June Adventure Island vlog, where he did a room there, Carnival of Curiosities, with Chris Beck, myself and Nat. He really enjoyed that room, so I think he's slowly catching the escape room bug. The next escape hunt room I have completed was actually with Yaz and Ewan. This was Ewan's first ever escape room that he did with us, and this was Journey to Atlantis. This again is a highly immersive escape room. This time it was just the one room. It wasn't like multiple doors open like the other three at Escape Hunt. This was just in one room. You were in a submarine on a journey to Atlantis, and then everything started to go wrong. This was mainly a physical puzzle escape room. You had to do a lot of physical things like turning steering wheels, searching for things, but there were a fair few mental puzzles as well, and a few things dotted around the room that you kind of had to memorise things from. So I think again that worked to all of our advantages and strengths. Ewan also got a really good physical clue. Me and Yaz were just kind of stood there laughing at him at the time because he just looked ridiculous, but then it actually turned out he did the right thing and he managed to win that part of the escape room and get us our next clue, which definitely contributed to us getting such a good time in this room that we escaped. It was, as it was also a brand new room for them, we were kind of like one of the first lot of people to go through and do it, and it was just so much fun. I would quite like to redo that room, maybe take Ashley and her boyfriend Dan with us, as I think that would be quite entertaining, getting the 5 of us all in the room to do that again. But yeah, hands down one of my favourite escape rooms, and it was even more special because it was the first one that I did with Ewan, and I think he really enjoyed it. The final Escape Hunt Kingston room that I have done is Escape the Wild West. Again, this was me and Yaz on one of our evenings out after work, and this is probably my favourite room at Escape Hunt Kingston. Again, there are some physical elements. It's a little bit different where you have to collect all the gold to make the train move so you can kind of escape the Wild West in the name. And there were loads of mental clues as well. There was a little bit of acting we had to do, which was really funny, as there were like 5 characters and the 2 of us had to play each part of the character and read through what we needed to do. And that's the only spoiler you're going to get, is that if you do this room, be prepared to do a little bit of acting. And it was really good fun. We did get stumped on a couple of the physical clues. Again, this is set into like 2, 3, maybe 4 rooms inside one big room. And there was just one room that really stumped us, and we were stuck on it for a good while, but then once we'd figured out what we were doing, we did it perfectly fine. And again, we got out with a really good time. Such a good time that we actually made the leaderboard. And actually, saying that, I think me, George and Adam made the leaderboard for Blackbeard's Treasure as well, so that was really good. So 2 of the rooms that I've done there, which happen to be like my favourites, we have managed to get ourselves on the leaderboard for. Speaking of Escape Hunt Kingston, me and Yaz have done a virtual reality escape room there, where you just wear the VR headsets and it's like you have to move your arms to solve the puzzles, and that one was again Alice in Wonderland themed. I enjoyed it, but I definitely preferred the physical escape rooms because by the end of it I did feel a little bit dizzy and a little bit sickly. But anyway, back to Escape the Wild West. Definitely do this room if you find the time to do it. It does say that they recommend being in bigger teams, so of like 3 or 4 people, but me and Yaz managed it with amples of time left as a 2. So if you think you can work really well in a 2 in this room, definitely give it a go, as you won't regret it. The penultimate room to talk about is Grimoire in the Attic, and this is situated in the Escape Room Centre in Blackpool. This was myself, Ewan, Ben and George on a summer trip to Blackpool. We also decided to do an escape room as Ben had never done one before, and me, George and Ewan were like, yeah, why not? We'd really like to do another one together. This one is the only escape room I'm yet to fully complete. We ran out of time right on the last thing, but this was again a very big room made up of about 3 or 4 rooms that kind of separated off from the main room, and there was just a couple of clues that we got really stumped on when we really shouldn't have, as they were really easy. But this is a room that I would like to return to and try to complete again. I'd quite like to take Yaz to Blackpool to try this room, so I think she'd enjoy it. It was very creepy, but not in the sense that there's a live actor to scare you. There's just a few things that interact in the room. There's a lot of darkness used, and it's just the actual storyline is a very dark and spooky storyline. But again, it's so immersive, probably the second most immersive scare room I've done, because I've still got one more to talk about that surpasses everything in immersiveness of escape rooms that I've done personally myself. But yeah, this is another firm favourite, even though I didn't escape it, but I do look forward to going back and finally, hopefully, managing to escape this with Ewan, Yasmin, maybe George and Ben again. I think it would be really nice to all do an escape room together, or anyone else in our friendship group that would like to try and have a go at escaping with us. The final escape room to talk about is the most immersive one I've ever done, and that is St Angelo's Castle at Comnata, London in Covent Garden. This was incredible. I did this one with Ashley. We'd been out for a girly day out to have some cocktails at the Dirty Martini, and we thought to end our evening we would go and complete an escape room. This was incredible. We got dressed up in robes, so we looked like proper prisoners in a very old medieval castle. And again, it was kind of split into 3 sections, and we had an hour to escape. At the beginning, I was put in the stocks and Ashley was locked in a cage. We had to figure out how to free each other, and it was just incredible. There were loads of physical puzzles, but also a lot of mental puzzles. And you were following the journal of the only other prisoner that had ever escaped the castle. And it was just fun and action-packed. I would love to take Yaz and Ewan in this room, and also some of the other rooms that they offer, as they are a worldwide company that are known for being some of the best escape rooms. And after only experiencing the one, I would definitely say they hold that reputation for a very, very good reason. So that's it. That is the escape room review video that I have been waiting months to film because I've been doing so many escape rooms and I really needed to review them. Of course, some of them are not as in-depth as others, mainly because I don't want to give any spoilers, and for some of the more immersive ones, if you speak too much, you spoil a lot of what actually happens in those rooms. Anyway, I do hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas and a very happy new year. The next video you will see is probably from Hampton Court's Christmas light trail called the Palace of Lights. And that will be myself and Mr. B. So, without further ado, that's it for now. And I hope you all have a lovely evening. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!